Pretty much 100% of the code at Anthropic now is AI generated. Their engineers are generating 2,000 to 3,000 line pull requests regularly. They are using Cloud Code to review it too. But you know what? Someone still has to approve those PRs. Someone who wasn't in the room when AI wrote it. Someone trying to trust the code they didn't write. And that's the real challenge right now. Not whether to use AI. That ship has sailed. The question is, how do you build actual trust in what AI produces? Not because AI writes better code than humans. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But because now, both sides of a pull request are dependent on the same thing. An AI that gets onboarded fresh every single time. Think of it like bringing in a brand new developer, incredibly capable, but no memory of your code base history, no context from last quarter's incident. And this happens twice per PR. Think about this. Once when you're building the feature, and again when you're trying to reveal it. The question isn't whether this new developer is good enough. It's whether we've given them enough context and we've built enough processes around them to actually trust what they produce. And here's the pattern I keep running into. Someone opens a PR, hundreds of lines, AI generated, tests pass, the PR description is thorough and professional, written by AI too, for sure. It looks great and it was really fast. The whole thing took about 12 minutes to produce based on the commit history. My first reaction is always, this is the future. Like we're shipping so fast. It's great. Then I start reviewing it. That's where it falls apart. Not because the code is bad. It's usually pretty good. But because I can tell it right away if it's good or not. The AI didn't leave me a trail of reasoning. It left me a trail of output. The person who wrote it directed the AI through a whole conversation. Testing directions, maybe trade-offs, discarding approaches, like none of that survived the PR. What survived is the result. Clean, confident, but opaque. I see this in both sides. Developers shipping AI code they can't fully explain, and reviewers approving diffs they don't fully understand either. So here's what I've been doing, and it works on both sides of that PR. Let's start with the developer side. If you're the one writing with AI, you have the most leverage here. The first thing is the most important. Own the decisions. Before you open a PR, you need to be able to clearly explain what the AI built. Not read from the description. Explain it. Really explain it. What problem does it solve? What trade-offs did it make? Why this approach and not another one? If you can't answer those questions, you're not ready to create a PR just yet. That's not a limitation of the AI. It's just that you haven't reviewed your own work yet. And related to this, you have to instruct AI to write code that doesn't need a lot of comments to be understood. AI has a tendency to add extensive comments explaining every single step, even the trivial ones. That's not documentation, that's just noise, and it actually makes the code harder to read, not easier. The goal is self-documenting code. Clear function names, clear abstractions, clear separation of concerns. If the code needs one paragraph to explain what it does, the problem is the code. Ouch! Of course, there's an exception for genuine business rules, right? Things that aren't obvious from reading the code alone. Regulatory requirements, domain-specific logic, intentional trade-offs, those really deserve a comment. But keep it tight, like 1 or 2 lines maybe. If the comment starts becoming a wall of text, you've probably found something that does too much and needs to be split up. Or it actually belongs to an actual documentation. Maybe a README, maybe an ADR, whatever standards your organization follows. Now, commits. AI can write commit messages that, when you're committing it, it's pretty cool. Looks like it's really explaining things very well. It's long, it's detailed, has a lot of context. But to be honest, nobody reads those, especially when they're long, and they don't help at all. A good commit message is like one sentence. It tells you exactly what happens and why that change is needed. And that's it. And if you can't write that in one sentence, you need 3 paragraphs to describe what the commit does. That's a signal the commit is probably too big. You should have split up this feature in probably a couple of commits. Smaller commits aren't just good hygiene. They're the safety net. If something goes wrong, you want to revert like a small portion of it. Focus changes, not undo like 3 days of work. The same logic applies to pull requests. If your PR needs a very long explanation to be understood, the PR is probably too big. The best PR descriptions I've written were built from good commits. When each commit tells like a very clear story about what it did, the AI can simply synthesize all the commits into a very clear PR description that actually makes sense. One that really explains what was done, why it matters, and how it was approached without overwhelming the reader. And one more thing on PRs, give your reviewer testing steps. Clear, numbered, reproducible steps. Make it trivially easy for someone to confirm your changes actually work. And here's something I've been doing that has saved me from shipping bugs multiple times. I write out testing steps for my PR, then before I actually open the PR, I give those steps to the AI and I ask it to execute them. Two things happen there. First, I find out immediately if my testing instructions are clear or confusing. If the AI can't follow them, my reviewer won't be able to follow either. Second, I get an early review right at that point. And usually, I catch issues at that stage. Things I missed because I was too close to the code or too focused in certain areas or maybe style issues. It's also an honest good check on your own confidence. If you're not sure enough about what you build to write it down, like how to test it, you're probably not done yet. The other thing I've been doing is using a different AI to review my code than the one I used to write it. For example, I use Cloud Code to help me write the implementation. Then I ask AMP to review it. It's a different model, different training, no shared context with the original conversation. It reviews code the same way a teammate would. And I do the same with PR descriptions. After writing one, I have another AI review it for clarity. Does it explain what we're trying to solve, how we're actually solving the problem, and how someone can reproduce both the problem and the solution? If the answer is no, I fix it before anyone else has to suffer through it. Now, the other side. You're the reviewer. You're staring at a PR full of AI-generated code. And before we get into what you should do, let's first talk about what's happening. This is something I've been calling the bot trap. Most teams have deployed AI review bots now, like CodeRabbit, GitHub Copilot Review, or Cursor Bug Bot, those kind of things, right? And they're generally useful. They catch bugs, flag patterns, surface things you'd miss on a fast read. But something has started happening. People are treating the bot approval as sufficient. PR lands, bot says looks good, task pass, they approve. And I get it. When you have to review a lot of PRs, you have like a very short deadline, then, it feels reasonable to do it. It feels reasonable to accept. And especially because the AI has a lot of reasonable arguments about it, right? The problem is what those bots can't see. They don't know the edge cases burned on your team like 6 months ago. They don't know the services and the steps that they take to use the thing that you're changing. They don't know the things that silently depend on your code. They don't know why that workaround exists in that legacy code. You know what I mean, right? That context lives in your head and in your team's history, not in the bot's training data. So bots are great to help you out, find and spot like trivial bugs. Sometimes they find something very deep and it's genuinely useful, but don't trust 100% on them. Like, don't just approve the PR without actually seeing what's doing. Which brings me to the uncomfortable part. You still have to read the PR, all of it. I know PRs are getting longer, AI generates more code even faster nowadays, and that volume landing in your review queue is generally hard to keep up. But here's a distinction that matters. You're not reading every single line looking for typos or trivial bugs. You're building a mental model of the change. What moved, what got added, what was removed, what's the intent, what could go wrong. That mental model is what lets you ask the right questions and what lets you catch things that the bot didn't catch. Because those things require judgment. Those things require memory. They require history, not just pattern matching. The bots are getting so much better every month. But you know what? Your judgment is the thing that's actually scarce. Beyond reading though, find balance between reading and actually testing the changes. Ideally, your automated test should tell you whether a PR is good. That's the goal to work toward. But if your project is not 100% there yet, you have to test it manually. It's slow, I know, But shipping something that breaks in production because you just trusted the test suite or just trusted whatever the AI said it was okay, I think you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Your teammate wrote testing steps in the PR description. Actually use them. And if those steps aren't there, ask for them before you review. That's a reasonable expectation now, and it protects both of you. Here's where AI generally helps the reviewer too when you use it right. One thing that I've been doing is actually pulling the branch and asking AI to actually run some test cases and reproduce the PR steps that were written there, right? And verify that everything works as expected. And it's simple enough. With all the tools that we already have in our hands, like why just glance over the PR if we can simply prompt in maybe another terminal to just like test it out? You're testing with a fresh perspective. It's both you and an agent that don't really have all the context that the person who created it and the agent that it used had in the beginning to make the decision. So you're not biased by it. And you can test it from scratch, and your agent is also not biased. So you have a fresh new perspective, but with the help of an agent that can quickly go through things and find some extra edge cases that you can validate along with it. And now at this stage, we can compare whatever you found, what the AI found, what the person that implemented the code said it would do, and we can compare things without a lot of bias. So I think that's the biggest power here, which comes to my main realization. Using AI to write code is not the problem. We're going to rely on it more and more. So that's just where we're going. The problem is using AI without building the trust infrastructure around it. Code reviews has always been a trust building exercise. You're not just looking for bugs. You're actually building that mental model we mentioned before. You're verifying that you really understand what's going on in the code base. AI didn't really change the job. It just made it harder to do it casually. Teams building these habits are catching bugs earlier, they are shipping things with a lot more confidence, and they're spending a lot less time with incident reveals at 2 a.m. And that's the payoff. That's the difference between shipping fast and shipping well. If this matches what you've been experiencing, I'd love to hear how your team is handling it. Are you doing trust agents reviews too? What does your commit strategy looks like with AI nowadays? Is your test suite at a point in which you can trust it completely and let AI work with it? Drop it in the comments. The more we share about what's actually working, the better we get at this. If this video resonated with you and you found it useful, subscribe. There are more coming.